Shutterstock Music.
Good evening, good evening, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of Black College Experience. I am one half of your Black College Experience team in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and we have on in Atlanta, Georgia, the founder of Black College Experience, Keisha Kelly. What's going on, Kels?
Oh, God, it's another day, another Sunday. It's been a busy one, but here we are. Here we are ready to kick it off, and it is draft week.
Yeah, it is. And we're going to have a special draft preview. We're going to have some special guests calling in. Last minute, I know. But, you know, when I realized, man, this would be something good to do, I called in a few favorites, and hopefully we can have some guys with NFL pedigree call in and discuss the HBCU prospects of the 2018 NFL draft. Because we have quite a few, Kels. Quite a few.
Yeah, we do. I kind of looked at it. I guess it's kind of strange because some of these names didn't seem like they popped up on the radar until now, you know, on the prediction. So, yeah, I did. I kind of.
Well, you know, one of my favorites is on there, so I'm glad that he was on one of those lists. So you'll find out who that is later on in the show. Around about 7:15 Eastern Standard Time is when we're going to start that conversation. But, you know, to kick off, you know, of course, we know late April, early March, or early May, we know what happens at HBCUs and at colleges all around the United States. Graduation. You know, graduation occurs. So we're going to have a special guest speaker at Howard's commencement, Kels. You know, did you see that?
I did. So Chadwick Boseman is going to be, well, I guess it's special to the world, but it's his own alma mater to him. So he's returning home to speak to his own people, which I think is major.
Awesome.
And that's what I call, quote unquote, really giving back. Like you really went back to your, and I think that's big, and I think that's going to be awesome, not only for him doing that for the university, you know, to shine some light on what's going on, you know, to shine some light at their university, to put some positive over there.
Exactly.
But after all of this that came with Black Panther, it's only gonna make just gonna boost the esteem of Howard at this time. And it's just kind of like Coachella. I think more people are gonna want to pick Howard. But I think it'll be super cool if some people can get some pictures with him and stuff and be like, hey. Because it's like, okay, this was the Chadwick Boseman, but this is the Chadwick Boseman from Black Panther. So, and it's real cool because he still reps Howard to the fullest.
Yes, he does. And this is what I think would be kind of fun. You know, I know at a commencement speech, you know, you got to be dressed up in a suit or whatever, but it would be so awesome if he shows up in his Black Panther costume and say, the Black Panther is coming to Howard to give the commencement address. That would be so awesome if he did that. I mean, because everybody knows who the Black Panther is. And like what you said, it's going to garner interest in the Black Panther. Chadwick Boseman got his education at Howard University and HBCU. So that can show you that you can come from an HBCU and become one of the biggest movie stars ever. Because he's played, of course, the Black Panther. Jackie Robinson, James Brown, and he's been in several other movies. And also Howard, I think Taraji is a Howard alum too, right?
Correct.
Yeah,
Correct.
So Taraji just had 2 movies come out, Proud Mary and Acrimony. You know what I'm saying? So HBCU grads. So
I mean, setting standards. We can, you know, continue to set standards, Yeah, it looks very well.
Yeah. And he's going to get an honorary doctorate degree, the Doctor of Humane Letters. You know, and speaking of this, he says it's an incredible honor and privilege for the Howard University community to welcome back home one of his native sons, Chadwick Boseman, to deliver the 2018 commencement address, said Dr. Wayne A.I. Frederick, the Howard University president. So, you know, I just think that's amazing, you know, for him to come back, and more HBCU alums that have the star power like this young man has. definitely need to come back to your alma maters, come back and support HBCUs. And also, like you said, Beyonce doesn't really have a tie to an HBCU. She's just randomly giving. So imagine if we had more black stars give their time, their money, their exposure. What's that going to do for HBCUs, Kels?
Absolutely. And that's why I continue to drive this point. I continue to say we have to make sure when these athletes get out of school, when they go pro, when we have these people around the world in these higher positions, we have to make sure that they continue to represent and that they continue to show. Like I tell people all the time, I was watching, I don't know, I popped in one day for lunch, and Tariq just so happened to be on doing some sports show. I can't even remember what it was, but I remember seeing him in his North Carolina A&T jacket. And I was like, that's just like the perfect branding. We have to continue to do that and let people know, because people laugh at me all the time, but I say this and I mean it. When I make it big, because I can't say if, when I make it big, because you have to speak this type of thing, everything is going to be HBCU. Southern University is going to be something that I represent all of the time. Right. It is our job to represent our universities, because if we don't, people don't know anything about them. And as big as our schools are, sometimes, a lot of times, people still do not know what they are, where they started from.
Exactly. They don't know the history and the pride that we as college students, that we as students like Chadwick Boseman, Jerry Rice, Michael Strahan, Taraji, you know what I'm saying? Even Sean Puffy Combs, even though he didn't graduate from an HBCU, he went to one. That's where he got his start. Maybe on the campus while he was in school, he, was motivated to start Bad Boy. Or maybe he was already in the process, but being a college student said, you know what, I'm ready to go blaze my trail now. So, we would love for Puffy to go back and graduate if he hadn't, but still, we claim him as an HBCU associate because he went to an HBCU. Right. You know what I'm saying? So one of the biggest music moguls has HBCU roots.
And it's so funny because, one of my colleagues was sitting next to me. He says something David Banner. And I just hear David Banner. I said, well, what about him? He said, do you know who I'm talking about? I said, yeah, he only went to the same college I went to. He was like, no, you're lying. Like,
he's
no,
from my hometown.
Yeah. I was like, he's from Mississippi. Exactly. I was like, he's from Mississippi. He was like, oh, no. But see, he's a campus. He really would have went to Google it, because he doesn't believe when I say stuff like that. He didn't believe me when I told him that Mardi Gras started in Mobile either. But, that's neither here nor there. But go ahead.
Yeah. So, next big news, and I thought this is related to Coachella. There's a young lady who's been garnering plenty of praise for recreating the Beyonce routine from Coachella, and she's been on the news streak. Her video has gone viral, and that is Virginia State freshman Brianna Bundit Kelly, and she posted a spot-on recreation of Beyonce's routine from Coachella. And this young lady is very talented. Like I said, the video has gone over 5 million views. She has been on Good Morning America, CNN, MSNBC, and the Today Show. That's where they've been talking about her performance, recreation of performance. And then on her Twitter, she says she got a retweet or a comment from Monica Lewinsky. So, even though this is indirect, she's not famous yet, this is bringing positive vibes to an HBCU, to a young lady who says she's been doing Beyonce recreated performances for a few years. And who knows? She could get discovered and become a dancer. She could become one of Beyonce's backup dancers. And then once she realizes and her talent comes full force up to the front, she could be giving someone an opportunity in the future, because she's just a freshman and is already garnering national attention for herself and for her HBCU. So I just think that's awesome. What do you think about that, Kels?
I did. I watched it, and I watched it a few times, and she hit she hit it right on task, and she had everything precise. And I like you said, I think that it is one of those things that it starts a buzz and it brings attention, and I think it's a very good thing. So we'll see where she ends up, but this is just the beginning, and we know now it's a social media generation, and once things start to tweet, retweet, share, it's just a fire. And I say that because even with last week in Coachella, you talk about, they do the comparison between the doll stand and the routine that Beyonce did, which was from the Dancing Dolls. So they put the videos together. So you see all of this buzz that's coming around HBCUs, and everything is hot right now.
Right.
So you just got to keep it going because everything is hot. But I think that young lady did an excellent job.
Yes, she did. Yes, she did. And let's see, up next we want to talk about, we're jumping into the SWAC. We had a new basketball coach named at Jack State, women's basketball coach. And I know this young lady. I grew up with her. I'm not ashamed to say that she beat me up a lot playing backyard basketball in her backyard. We didn't go to the same high school, but I've known her for a very long time. She won a state championship at Murrah. She played basketball. She coached at Jackson State. She's coached at USM, U of L, and also in New Orleans. She spent the past 2 years at Hines Community College, and she reinvigorated that program. That is, Tamika Reed has been named the head coach at Jackson State University, going home, so to speak, coaching her hometown team, being named the basketball. Because we know Jackson State relieved their head coach, and now my good friend gets to revive the Jackson State Lady Tigers, because when she was on the coaching staff at Jackson State, the Lady Tigers were winning. They weren't going through the hard times that we're going on now. So, congratulations to Tamika. I can't wait to get her on the show because I believe she has an awesome story to tell of her journey of coming from Jackson, and it's come full circle back to Jackson, become the head coach of Jackson State women's basketball Kills.
Another black girl magic,
That's
girl
right.
doing it, black woman thing. I'm proud of her as well, and it's good to see someone coming in of her caliber. And she seems like that it's going to be a positive. Looks like everyone is pretty excited for her. I think Jackson State is excited to be getting her. So I think that's a great thing. And if she can come on the show, I think that would be awesome.
Right.
To share her journey and let people know, because oftentimes, people don't understand how hard it is when you're moving around. In athletics, it's really tough, really, really tough. It's not just like moving from job to job. In athletics, it's a tough move. So I think that would be really great.
Right. Just to give some background on Coach Reed's coaching career, at Hines, she won a combined 47 games, consecutive winning seasons from 2016-17 to 2018-17. She led Hines to the NJCAA Region 23 title game this past year. I think that's for the first time in that school's history as far as having that type of success on the ladies' basketball court. I'm overjoyed for Tamika. I'm glad that she was able to reach her dream and come
What's
back
all the
home.
noise?
Come back home to coach Jackson State. So, let's see here. It's about 6:15 now, Kels.
Yeah, let's go ahead and take a commercial break.
All right. When we come back from the commercial break, we're going to be getting ready to discuss our NFL draft prospects and hopefully our panel will be on by then. We'll be right back in about 31 seconds.
I already knew that I was going to go to college, from a young age. I definitely want to major in political science. After that, I'm going to get my law degree. Then I'm going to come back to Detroit, boost the economy, become the mayor or something, try to make the situation better for other people. I feel like I owe it to the city. I'm determined. It's going to happen. My name is Justin, and I am your dividend.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back with Black College Experience, and I believe we have a caller on the line, one of our members of our panel, and I believe that is my good friend, another SWAC legend that I have the the ability to say that I grew up with, saw him play, saw him become a star. The one and only Kenny Bryant. What's going on, Kenny? Oh, hold on. Give me a second, Kenny. Kenny?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. What's going on, man? Thank you for calling in.
And I appreciate you for allowing me to come on.
Oh man, I'm thankful that you took time out of your busy schedule because you're a law enforcement officer. To call in and talk about the NFL prospects for HBCU student athletes going forward.
Well, man, I try to support you everything you do. So it's nothing for me to call in.
So if everything, Kenny Bryant played at Hines Junior College at Jackson State, and then he played in the NFL. I think for the Bengals, right, Kenny?
Say what now?
You played at Jackson State. You was all SWAC corner at Jackson State, and then you played in the Bengals organization. I think that's
the Bengals organization for a few years.
So, well, since you're on, we're gonna go ahead and get started because I'm pretty sure some others are gonna call in. But of course, we all know, Kenny. HBCU prospects are not sought after like they were in the times of Jerry Rice and Steve McNair, and also during your playing days. Your heyday, I think, was one of the last couple of years where we had first-round draft picks coming from HBCUs. And that's a trend that we want to return to. We know we have the talent level at our institutions. They just need to be given an opportunity to earn a roster spot or even be given a chance to be drafted in the first round. I think we have someone else on now also. Let me see who this is. That is area code 256-541-3143. Is that you, BJ?
Yes, man. It's BJ. What's going on?
All right. So now we have two former all-SWAC defensive backs, to call in and talk about our HBCU NFL prospects today. And both of you gentlemen, did your thing on the football field. So, your opinion matters as far as regarding the HBCU prospects. And we're thankful that you gentlemen decided to give us a call and talk about the upcoming NFL draft and the HBCU prospects that you think are going to get drafted or potentially signed to free agent contract deals. Both of you guys are SWAC, but of course, we have the other HBCU conferences as well, and also Tennessee State. With prospects that have a chance to realize the NFL dream. But we're gonna start with Kenny first, since Kenny came in. Kenny, who do you think is gonna, have a good chance at getting drafted? What NFL prospects do you feel have a strong case for being drafted?
Well, from being around, I come from old school football, man, and I believe to start a franchise and to keep a franchise going, I believe you have to have three things. I believe you have to have a quarterback, a mighty linebacker, and a center. The kid from out of South Carolina State, this linebacker, Darius Leonard.
Uh-huh.
I got a chance to watch some film on him, and man, I don't see any other linebackers out there as good as he is. I think that he could anchor somebody's defense for a long time. If given the opportunity, of course. You said it best when you said, I think the last few years that I was at Jackson State was the last time that they actually took chances on guys out of the SWAC and out of the MEAC, stuff like that, as a first-round draft choice. And I think it's something that needs to change. This kid right here has first-round talent, I think.
Okay. BJ?
I like Darius Leonard a lot. Also, Brandon Parker is probably, one of the best FCS prospects, period. You look at the numbers that he put up in North Carolina A&T, 4-year starter, not giving up a sack. He can anchor an offensive line. I also like, you coming to the SWAC, I like Danny Johnson.
Right.
Danny does a lot of things. He does it well. Yeah, and he can play the outside corner. He can come down and play the nickel. He can return. And one of the good things about Danny that you don't see lately a lot of defensive backs is he's a sure tackler.
Yes,
and that's
he
something
is.
that's going to jump out to the NFL scouts because when you go from that college game to the NFL game, it's a lot more physical, and tackling is at a premium.
Is that
Exactly.
the kid from Stone University?
Yes, number one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I watched him play 4 years. I think he is an exceptional talent as well. Yeah, him and the kid from Grambling State University, the quarterback.
Devontae Kincaid.
Huh?
Devontae Kincaid.
Yeah, he's got the ability because he was, a SEC type of guy. And for whatever reason, it didn't work out at Ole Miss. He might have thought of, the NCAA sanctions coming or whatever. But, so he can get the job done on that next level. So, coming down here, throwing just 3 interceptions in 1 year, man, that's big.
Right, and of course, we had 4 prospects invited to the combine, this year. Now, you all mentioned 3 of them so far. Leonard, Parker, and Johnson. I think those are only 3, correct? Kels, correct me if I'm wrong.
To where?
To the NFL combine, those 3 young men, Leonard, Parker, and Johnson.
Correct.
Okay, those were on 3. And then, fringe prospects, of course, was Mr. Excitement, Martez Carter out of Grambling. But we all know he's a lightning rod of a running back. And, of course, Devontae made it public that he was miffed that he didn't get a chance to showcase his skills at the combine because there were quarterbacks at the combine he was rated higher than coming out of high school that got a chance to showcase their skills. Yeah, we know he went down a level of competition to Grambling, but Carson Wentz, you know what I'm saying? Oh, he's the next great coming quarterback. Came out of a FCS school. You know what I'm saying? No, Grambling is not at the level of North Dakota State, but still, it's still FCS. I feel Devontae should have gotten a chance, but
but Carson Wentz was also at Senior Bowl too.
Exactly.
He was on a broader platform.
Devontae got invited
I was at his Senior Bowl. I was also at his draft.
Right.
He was on a bigger platform though.
Yeah. But I agree with you, Kels. Also, per this list that I saw, according outside of 2 SWAC and then the MEAC young man coming out of the SWAC. Of course, we talked about Carter, but out of Howard, Anthony Field, a 6'1", 200-pound running back who has had a couple of 1,000-yard seasons out of Howard. This past season, he only rushed for 769 yards and 9 touchdowns. BJ, what do you think about Field,
I like him. He was all the way up until this year. He was one of the bright spots for Howard. He was one of those kids that can do it everything. He can run it. He can catch the ball out of the backfield. This year, he kind of got stung by the injury bug, and then also Howard had a quarterback that can tote it a little bit, and they also had another freshman running back that kind of shared the load. So he wasn't asked to do as much, but he is one of the better backs at the FCS level. A lot of people overlook him, but I think that he'll get an opportunity to do his thing at the next level because he has that prototypical size. He has the vision, the speed, the quickness. He checks off all the boxes. I think a lot of people are questioning coming out of Howard who hadn't really had a great program. They had the good year this year, but then this was the year that he was banged up. So I think a lot of people have a lot of questions. But I think once he finds a landing spot, he'll be good to go.
Right. And the next player I want to highlight, and Kenny, this is going to be for you, because this is against your chief rival in the SWAC. You all stuffed this young man this year. DeLance Turner out of Alcorn, 6'1", 214-pound senior, ran for 1,355 yards and 10 touchdowns. Had a amazing pro day at USM. He also showed that he could catch the ball, 2-1 pass for 212 yards and 3 touchdowns, which is what NFL teams are looking for. The running back who can run in between the tackles and who's a threat out of the backfield. Talk to us about your prospects on Turner, Keenan.
Man, I'm going to tell you this. People always ask me what my A lot of people think that my favorite sport is football. My favorite sport is actually track and field. And this guy right here is a track and field athlete. He's a 100-meter sprinter for Alcorn and a 200-meter sprinter. So he can actually take the ball the distance when he gets it. Wherever he gets it at, he can take it the distance. I think he is a super prospect. Right now, I heard about his pro day down there at Alcorn, which might have changed the people. I mean, at USM, might have changed some people's minds about him because he ran a great 40. As far as I think what's going to hurt him is Jackson State is down. And what I mean by that, I can remember being at Jackson State where it might be 30 scouts at a Jackson State game. And I'm thinking that it's going to hurt a lot of kids out of the SWAC because of the tradition that they brought. If Jackson State was up, I think this kid, and he did what he did against Jackson State, and they were up, I think this kid would probably get a really nice look. But just the talent level at his rivals is down, and I think that hurts him.
Well, I guess you
but
can say
once he gets there,
right now, as far as I'm gonna play devil's advocate, because if we had somebody on here from Grambling, because we got a Jaguar on here. If we had somebody on here from Grambling, they would beg to differ that Grambling was more of a rival than Jackson State for Alcorn than Jackson State was because they played in the last couple of SWAC championship games. So just give them a little banter. We know the history. I know the history between Jackson State and Alcorn. Man, you grew up watching that culture. You played in that culture. I had a dream to go to Jackson State, but ultimately God took me to Valley. So, BJ, what do you think about that? Do you agree or disagree with Kenny as far as saying, Jackson State having an issue with the Lance Turner's exposure?
Those blue and white colored glasses he got on over there. Hey, it's been almost 11 years since Jackson State has won a title. And I want to say I think they got one in the last 20. Jackson State been down for a while. I think the biggest thing with the Lance Turner, all jokes aside, is that I don't think that Alcorn has the profile nationally that Grambling or Southern or even a Jackson State has, or even to a certain degree Alabama State. DeLance Turner, if you look at the numbers that he put up, at one point this season, DeLance Turner was the leading rusher in the country in FCS ball.
He was.
And you would have never known it.
Right.
You would have never known it. They didn't pub him the way that he would have been pubbed if he was at one of those larger schools. And I wonder, our prospects who are considering Alcorn are going to consider that, thinking about, hey, this is a kid that came out. No one never heard of him unless you were just really into, SWAC ball and FCS sports. But he has the game, but no one ever said anything about him. So I wonder if that's going to hurt Alcorn moving forward, because if the Lance Turner is at Grambling, there's no question that he gets drafted with those numbers.
At Grambling?
Well,
so he had to be at Grambling to get guaranteed he had to get drafted. I'm surprised you said that, BJ, with you being a Jaguar.
It's not even just Grambling. It's like Grambling or Southern, somewhere where you would have saw the Lance Turner's name everywhere.
Let me change gears because let's go to some other people that's not on. Let's talk about some other people on the list. Okay. I'm gonna throw it out there, y'all. Give me y'all opinion. Let's go, Aaron Tiller. Derek, you first.
Sack machine. Aaron Tiller has the motor that NFL prospects, the NFL teams look for. He could grow into a 4-3 defensive end. He right now has the size to be a 3 or 4 outside linebacker. I think Tiller can give teams who want to utilize him in either position, he gives them a chance for him to grow into that. So I think Tiller, he's not on any draft boards. I think guaranteed he's going to get a free agent contract. But I would love to see someone give him a chance.
Predicted to go between 5th and 7th round.
Okay. BJ?
I think he'll be taken in the 5th round.
Go ahead, whichever one you got.
Go ahead, BJ.
Hey, I think Tiller, the thing about him is that the game is going to change for him. Now he's going to have to get accustomed to playing into space, and that's what teams are going to wait and see. I think wherever he goes, he's going to do well. Hopefully he'll get drafted. Hope he'll, be a later round draft pick. If not a free agent, I think that, if he goes into free agent, I think that he'll prove teams right and he'll land on the roster somewhere.
Kenny?
Well, I know in the NFL everything is about getting to a team that fits your playing style. And I think a team like New England, somebody who will select a lot of defensive players late, will probably end up with him, and he will end up being a 4-3 DN or a 3-4 outside linebacker, like he said, like BJ said, once he learns how to play in space. But I think it's going to all be about where he fits, which team he fits with.
All right, shifting gears. Danny Johnson. BJ, you first.
I like Danny. I'm thinking somewhere maybe around the 5th round. Like I said, he's a kid that can do it all. And I think that he's going to have a long career playing on Sundays.
Kenny?
Danny Johnson, I think, will go higher than 5th round. I think his ability to make plays in the special teams. I watched him play this year a lot. Well, I watched him play a lot in the past 4 years. And he kind of, and I'll be honest with you, he kind of reminds me of a guy that played at Jackson State, Cletus Gordon.
Exactly. I remember Cletus.
Oh, yeah.
He can make plays all over the field. So I think once he gets in the camp, he'll probably get drafted about the 5th round. But once he gets in the camp, they're going to realize that they got a steal with this kid.
Okay. One person I want to highlight, Kells, this is one of my favorite players. I don't know if any of you guys know about him, but there's a free safety out of Johnson C. Smith. Even though Johnson Smith has not won a lot of games, but this young man has played a lot of defensive snaps for them special teams. He has intercepted a lot of passes, and that is Carlo Thomas out of Johnson C. Smith University. He picked off 9 passes last year. He only got 1 this year because no one wanted to throw his way. He has a prototypical size to play free safety. He runs about a 4.40. Very rangy kid. We know NFL draft beatniks don't pound the pavement at Division II schools. We had one kid get drafted in the 4th round last year, Grover out of Albany State. I think that's the highest that a Division II HBCU player has been drafted in a long time. In the past, we know we had them all over. But, I think this young man, if he's not given a chance to get drafted, I think he can help a team, especially with depth, especially with his ball skills. And when you have someone like that, with ball skills like that, who knows the game, who has athletic ability to play the game, with coaching you get better. And I would love to see him get a chance in the NFL to see how he translates.
I'm familiar with him. How tall is he as a free safety?
He's 6'2".
And how much does he weigh?
185 pounds. So he has a little room to build on his frame.
Yeah. But they like those free safeties to be big, man. If he can
Eric Thomas
is
5'10", 200 pounds.
He's a strong safety though. Strong safety.
Okay. Well,
if he can get in there and know how to quarterback a defense, he'll be okay.
So,
if he can line the linebackers up, because in the NFL he'll have to set them. He'll be making calls like a linebacker, like a Mike. If he can make plays and put these guys where they need to be and be smart, he might be okay. I'm not familiar with it.
Okay. There's another
I've
division.
seen clips of him. I think he'll be all right.
There's another Division II HBCU prospect making the headlines, and he is a massive offensive line prospect. Victor Tomba Jr., a 6'5", 335-pound guard out of Bowie State, out of the CIAA.
That must have been your favorite one, Derek.
Well, I'm going to ask you, because you're a Saints fan. Your Saints fan love drafting offensive linemen out of small schools. Do you see the Saints possibly making a move on Victor Tombo? I mean, because
I want to say that I talked to him. I had some conversation with him because it's been quite a few people talking about workouts and stuff with the Saints, and somebody, it's been across social media. I've been talking to so many people. I could see it. I definitely could. We're notorious for doing those kind of things.
Yeah.
But then again, with the Saints, you never know. You ask them to pick defense, they'll pick offense. You ask them to pick offense, they'll pick defense. You ask them to pick a quarterback, they'll pick a cornerback. So you never know with him.
And he has the one thing that you can't teach. He has size. And, of course, he's going to have to clean up his technique a bit. But in a run-oriented offense where you have to maul the defensive tackle in front of you, to open up those holes, I think, he'll be a perfect fit for a team who likes to not necessarily run the zone blocking schemes, but just physical upfront blocking man-on-man, which a lot of teams now are going to that zone blocking scheme, but you still have some teams who do the man-on-man block. I think Tampa would be a perfect fit to, be a swing guard, backup guard, and then, once he gets his technique cleaned up, turn into a potential NFL starter if he's given a chance. He like I said, he has two things. One thing that you can't teach. He has the size. I mean, 6'5", 335, and he's strong as an ox.
I'm looking at him now online, and he looks good online right now.
Yeah. I mean, he's humongous. And we talked about Devontae already, but there was Pro Football, HBCU Sports gave an analysis on prospects who they thought would get drafted. And they thought that, Brandon Parker would probably go to the Vikings, and they felt like that Devontae Kincaid would land in Tampa Bay to be mentored by, Winston, and also sit behind Fitzpatrick. They said they felt like that Leonard would be a perfect fit for Arizona. Now, of course, these are all just predictions. We don't know who's going to go where, but here's where I think Devontae fits, and y'all gonna call me biased because you already know what I'm gonna say. I think the perfect fit for Kincaid would be Kansas City. We have
you trying to get somebody out there for your team, see?
We have a second-year quarterback, mobile quarterback.
I was trying to get somebody on your team. No.
But here's the thing, though. Andy Reid.
Y'all have a coach?
Andy Reid, yes, we have a coach who knows what to do with a mobile quarterback with a big arm. He showed what he did with Donovan McNabb. And Devontae is not as big as McNabb.
Well,
but
yeah,
he has a
no
similar
argument
skill
there.
set.
I agree.
He has a similar skill set.
Yeah.
And, while Winston is entrenched as the starter in Tampa Bay, Patrick Mahomes is the next coming at Kansas City. They traded.
What draft pick does Kansas City have?
We don't have a first-round draft pick. We really don't have a backup quarterback. We traded our first-round draft pick last year. So,
Well, I'm going to tell you this. They're not going to draft Kincaid. They don't have a first-round pick. Beware, because they may just draft this kid, Darius Leonard out of South Carolina State.
You know what? We need a replacement inside linebacker for Derrick Johnson. So, Kenny, that analysis is spot on, man.
I'm telling you now.
Derrick wants somebody on his team so bad.
We would take – actually, you know what? Guess what else position we need? Because they traded away all our cornerbacks. Danny Johnson can come on to Kansas City, too. Send all the HBCU prospects
just
to
think about
Kansas
it.
City.
They put a good offense on the field last year.
Yeah.
They couldn't stop anybody.
We couldn't.
Let's take a commercial break and come back and talk about this, man.
Okay, we're going to take a quick commercial break, and we're going to wind down with our NFL HBCU prospectus on Black College Smith. We'll be right back in 25 seconds.
Are you interested in attending an historically black college or university? Hello, my name is Robert Mason. I'm president and founder of the Common Black College application. Our application allows you to apply to any number of 44 historically black colleges and universities at the same time for only $35. So visit our website at www.commonblackcollegeapp.com to apply now. Thank you, and get educated.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back with more Black College Experience, and we're winding down with our HBCU prospectus in the NFL draft this coming weekend. We've talked about 10 or 12, almost to 13 different prospects. You know, of course, we would like to see more come out of our HBCU institutions. We want to see a return to glory for NFL franchises plucking the gems from HBCUs, because the hallmark of what we think of HBCU players is they're humble and they're hungrier, you know, than quote unquote some big name prospects. You know, we even had last week we had Enrique say that. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, echoing what I said, he's a big name prospect, and he even agrees with me that the HBCU prospect is hungrier. They have to grind harder. So the NFL needs to take note and coach these young men up, because there's some speed at HBCUs. At these little regional combines, these little regional pro days, HBCU prospects have been lighting up the 40 times, a couple 340s from DBs and wide receivers, a couple of offensive linemen pumping up 225, 30 odd times, outperforming prospects that were at the combine. But these young men don't get a chance to showcase their skills on an NFL field. If they are given a chance, they're not given as many chances as their FBS counterparts. So, you know, do y'all see any sleeper picks, unknown players coming up? There may have been all SWAC, all MEAC, like gym players that may have led the SWAC in a statistics that has not been highlighted.
Well, I think, and I got to go back to this kid from Grambling, Devontae Kincaid. I watched him play the last 2 years, and when I watched the game, I watched it for different things. And he had those intangibles that you look for when you're looking for a quarterback. He's a leader. I mean, he's a good-looking kid, and I'm not, you know, a soft guy, but he's a good-looking guy, charismatic. People like him. He can lead, and he can make plays with his feet, and he can make plays with his arm. So I think he is the sleeper.
All right. One sleeper pick that I'm going to talk about is out of Grambling, and that's safety Meander. He had a pretty good pro day along with Kincaid. He's been hitting the interview circuit. He interviewed with the coach and a few other teams. He's a big kid, about 6'2", 200 odd pounds, and he has the speed and the ball skills to, you know, play special teams and then potentially earn his way onto an on-field position by playing safety. BJ, what do you think about Meander?
Man, I like him. He has all the he got the intangibles. You know, kid that came in, he came from Texas. You know, big kid. I mean, if he can put it all together, he has all the talent in the world to be able to make it to the next level. His thing is he has to be consistent. If you look at the film, he'll give you 3 good plays. He'll play where he might take a wrong angle. He might, you know, bite on a double move. That happens as a DB. That's why as a DB you have to have a short memory. But one thing about it I like about him is he high points the ball. He go and gets the ball at his highest point, and that's the biggest knock. And we go back to what we said about Danny Johnson. Meander is a tackler. He can tackle. He's physical. He can come up, and that's something that's gonna be big. I want to see if you're gonna mention 2 of my sleeper picks before the end of the show. Because I got 2 of them that we ain't mentioned yet.
Well, there's 2 I want to talk about, and they're on the skill position, wide receivers. One out of Alcorn, Orlando Villas, a senior. He had 49 catches for 901 yards and 7 touchdowns. The other one is Kadero Hodge out of Prairie View, 48 catches, 844 yards, and 12 touchdowns. Both of these young men, you know, have performed in the SWAC. I don't have any information on their combine or their pro day results, but they were able to, you know, perform on the football field. And, you know, we know SWAC wide receivers have done some damage to NFL record books. Y'all, I don't even have to mention the greatest. You know what I'm saying? And then, you know, Jackson State has produced a lot of NFL wide receivers. Southern University has produced a lot of NFL wide receivers, greats. So, you know, BJ, was one of those 2 young men your sleeper?
No, actually, I went outside of the SWAC for mine.
Okay, well, let us have it.
I got Trenton Cannon, Virginia State running
Virginia
back.
State running back. Oh yeah, he's a beast.
He fall out of the bed and get 1,000 yards a season, and he got the vision, he got the speed, he can do it. Another one is a defensive end out of Tennessee State named Ebo.
I'm not even gonna try to pronounce it.
Yeah.
Yes,
he transferred from Clemson. 5-star kid. The injury bug kind of hurt him, once he got to Tennessee State. But when he plays, he demands a double, triple team, and he just caused havoc all over the place. He was OVC Defensive Player of the Year, first team All OVC, Ebo Okundibo. Definitely, and Tennessee State also has a receiver that broke all the receiving records up there. I think his name is Patrick Smith.
Yeah. He didn't have the season that they thought he would have had. They spread the ball around with that Florida transfer. He spread the ball around a good bit, which kind of hurt Smith's stats. But he had 1,000 yards receiving last year. So he definitely. I saw him play. Kels, what's the game you went to with Tennessee State? Who did they beat? The game you went to?
Georgia State.
Georgia State, yes.
Or Georgia Southern, I'm sorry.
No, it was Georgia State.
Yeah, Georgia State.
It was Georgia
State. Yep.
Smith made some key plays in that game to help Tennessee State get that upset. I mean, he's not afraid to go over the middle, and he can also serve as a deep threat. So, I've definitely seen Smith play. He is an awesome athlete. And it's just good to see HBCU athletes getting the exposure that they've been getting. It doesn't matter if they transfer from a Power 5 or an FBS squad. When you come to an HBCU, you're not HBCU. Because, BJ, you're one of those. You transfer from an FBS to an HBCU. So, you built yourself up at the SWAC level. Kenny, you homegrown SWAC. You came from JUCO, then you went to Jackson State. You built yourself up. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't matter where you come from. All that matters is what you do when you get on the football field. And you two gentlemen are an example of that. That's why I'm glad that you two were able to come on and give us your expertise on who will get drafted. Of course, BJ, you welcome calling anytime. Kenny, we're going to have to get you on the show so we can profile you, fully, to talk about what you're doing since your playing days have ended, just to let people know what you're doing in the community and how you're helping out in our hometown of Jackson, Mississippi. Kels, you have anything more for Kenny and BJ?
I don't.
All right, gentlemen, we would like to thank you all for calling in. You know what I'm saying? We're going to have a show after the draft. So if any of these HBCU prospects get drafted, I mean, hey, we can call in and see if we were right on which prospects we're going to get drafted in free agent contracts, because, of course, after the draft ends, the feeding frenzy begins with free agent draft picks. Well, free agent signings, So we're going to hopefully have a lot of HBCU prospects signed, and hopefully a lot of HBCU prospects earn contracts as, workouts begin over the summer. And then, when preseason starts, we'll be able to talk more about these young men as they try to blaze their trail and achieve their overall dreams of becoming NFL pro football players. So we'd like to thank you, gentlemen,
thank you for calling, guys.
All right, thank you for having me.
Anytime, Kenny.
Thank you.
All right, we got to roll. Yeah, we got to roll into this track because we had a lot of stuff happen in track and field this weekend. We had tennis. We had a lot of people that
championships decided.
We had a lot of championships. Even spring football. So I'll just say congratulations to Morehouse. They won track and field championship today.
Awesome.
Gosh, got all the tweets, got all the everything. So congratulations to Morehouse. Maroon Tigers, the house represented out. They were out in Albany, so they did win track and field. As far as baseball, I guess we're still waiting. I want to see what really happened. I didn't really get the update on what happened with them in baseball. Also, looks like Xavier University, their women did secure the championship, and their guys came in second runners up to get medals. Claflin secured a bunch of medals. So that's all on my side for track. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
A bunch
All
of
right,
track and
Xavier.
field, yeah. Yeah. All track and field.
Xavier's been tearing it up this year in sports, man.
They were.
And speaking, since you just happened to bring up GCAC, then we're gonna go on with the championships. The GCAC added a new member, and it's Russ College out of Holly Springs, Mississippi. You know, a lot of people.
I bet you like that, huh?
That's my pastor's. The pastor that baptized me. That's his college, Russ College in Holly Springs, Mississippi. I've actually gotten a chance to visit the campus. It's a small, private HBCU college up in North Mississippi. You know, they have 12 sports.
Well, you know what's crazy?
What's that?
I met a lady. This is crazy. Through your frat brother, which is Big Brad, he introduced me to a lady that's from Mississippi, and said her daughter wanted to go to Southern. Well, when I was talking to her yesterday, I can't remember the school she said she went to first, but she transferred to and graduated from Russ College.
Awesome.
this is just crazy. That's because she played basketball. That's crazy.
So they're going to join the GCAC. Like I said, they include 12 sports. Men's sports include baseball, basketball, cross country, tennis, track and field, and volleyball. A men's volleyball team. That's rare. Women's sports include basketball, cross country, softball, tennis, track and field, and volleyball. Russ College was founded in 1866 and is one of the nation's oldest historically black colleges and universities, and it's affiliated with the United Methodist Church. So, you know, I think this is awesome for the state of Mississippi, awesome for the GCAC, awesome for Russ College as they continue to try to grow as an athletic conference, Kales. Now, on to these championships. Had a lot of championships decided last week and this week. Well, last week we did mention that the Alabama State women won the tennis titles, but the men also won the tennis titles, so they swept. You know, congratulations to Alabama State. Alabama State also won the women's golf title, Kales. I mean, just sweeping away, Alabama State winning. Prairie View.
I say it. Alabama State is the most complete athletic department. They have the most complete athletic department, in my opinion, in the SWAC. That's just my opinion. I mean, they give or take football, basketball. They used to run the boards left and right. They were always back in the day. Football, they would always be the championship. Basketball, same thing. But I had no idea that they would compete at the level that they compete at with all these other sports. I knew they were getting the tennis cup every year, but they really knock it out the park with every sport.
Exactly. You know, so, you know, just winning SWAC championships. In the MEAC, Augusta claims its fourth straight MEAC golf title. Hopefully that we can have some homegrown MEAC schools stop that streak. But again, Augusta, you are MEAC. So congratulations to you. Albany State in the SEAC, Albany State repeats as golf champion. So congratulations to the Albany State for repeating as golf champion. In tennis, Benedict sweeps men's and women's tennis. You know, so congratulations to those student athletes. In the CIAA, Shaw wins the women's tennis title, and Livingstone wins the men's golf title. You know, so, of course, we know all these student athletes work hard on and off the athletic fields and in their classrooms. To earn that championship means a lot. So, congratulations to all student athletes on your hard work and, you know, winning on and off your athletic playing field skills.
I think it's a really good thing, like you said. I mean, and it was so many different schools. I think one of the ones that got me more so was Livingstone, because you don't hear too much about the Livingstones, and even when you were talking about the draft, when you start talking about Johnson C. Smith, those aren't the schools that we see a lot of spotlights out of, and so I think in this particular case, if that kid does get drafted or comes out as a free agent, I think it will be awesome, because you're seeing more and more coming out of these small schools. And even when Marquette came out, even when Marquette was in that position, it was so exciting to see somebody out of the SEAC coming, because it's not, we see them out of Grambling, we see them out of Southern, somebody like that, you're like, okay. But to see them out of an Albany or Fort Valley or something like that is even better.
Exactly. So we're winding down. Got about 4 minutes left in tonight's show. But we got to highlight this here because this is a coup. A coup on a reservation. Because Pat White, record-setting quarterback from West Virginia, former pro quarterback for the Miami Dolphins, is coming to Alcorn to be the quarterback coach / offensive coordinator. I listened to his podcast this week, Kels, with him announcing that he was coming to Alcorn. I mean, he's leaving behind his family to come and coach for Alcorn. And he said this is no experiment. He's coming for as long as Alcorn will have him. And if you don't know who Pat White is, Google him. You will see him torching football fields in college. You will see him doing it in the NFL when he played for the Dolphins. Pat White is a tremendous athlete. He's a tremendous spread quarterback. And, Alcorn debuting a new offensive system. I think they're going to, of course, incorporate intricacies of Pat White's offense in college, because why would you bring him here if you're not going to let him do what he does? Of course, this is his first coaching job, I think. But this young man, he's young enough, and this is where I think his experience will help. He's young enough to demonstrate. In most cases, you have quarterback coaches who are either too old or too out of shape to get on the field and show you. When I was in high school, and Kenan can tell you this when we talk about this when he comes on, we had a quarterbacks coach in high school named John Permenter, Kels. Coach Permenter was young enough where he would get out there with us. We were in pads. He would get out there with us and demonstrate how to run the play. This is where I think Pat White is going to be invaluable to Alcorn, because he can show you how to run a play at full speed, at game speed, at practice speeds, where in most cases you have the older quarterbacks coach who can't get out there and do it. Alcorn now has a weapon in the coaching booth and on the field in regards to Pat White. What do you think about Alcorn bringing in Pat White as quarterbacks coach / assistant offensive coordinator?
I always like to see when you can bring in that type of talent and teach guys like in this era, because it's like you get a mix of old school and new school is what I like to look at it as. And they can always learn. You can always learn. And anytime you get that type of opportunity, you always want to seize the moment. You always want to take advantage of that type of opportunity. And it's not just like a Keisha coach. Like it's okay, you're bringing in Pat White. So I think that is a really great opportunity and something that they should definitely take advantage of.
Right. And I can't wait to see how he does. I've already reached out to Coach White, invited him to be a guest on Black College Spring. Me and Kels don't play. Kels reached out, sent a tweet out to Jerry.
I promise you, I thought I was doing a job. You got me beat. You got me beat on Twitter. I was like, I'll look up and I'm like, what are they talking about? And then I'll go back and look through the messages and just start laughing. I was like, oh, they definitely talking to Derek, because I have no clue what's going on over here.
Well,
none.
You, in response to Beyonce, you sent out a tweet to Jerry, Shannon, Strahan. You went for the big time. You know what I'm saying?
I did.
So
I did. I mean, I've talked to Shannon before on Twitter. So it's like, okay, we just don't see who bites. And I feel like we would be closer connected or easier to try to get a response from a HBCU grad,
right,
versus trying to get from, and it might be a long stretch, but hey, it's worth the try.
Well, hopefully with Jerry Rice being my chapter frat, you know what I'm saying, hopefully I can, get a chance to interact with him. I'm pretty sure if I can talk with him in person or get an emissary to say, hey, your chapter frat wants to invite you on the show, I don't think he's gonna not come on. I think with his busy schedule,
right.
Even if we have to pre-record his interview, I think he would give us an audience. We just have to get in touch with him directly. We're almost out of time. There's one thing I want to mention, two more things I want to mention before we go. Of course, with spring football coming to a close, the Alabama State spring game will be broadcast by HBCU Game Day. And we know our good friend Stephen Gaither is excited about this because they're going to utilize their HBCU Game Day app via the Fire Stick. So if you want to watch the Alabama State spring game, you can download the HBCU Game Day app on your Fire Stick, and you can watch the game on April 28th. I think that is awesome that they're doing
I agree.
This could be something big, Kels, for HBCUs?
I
going
think so.
forward?
I think with Tolly and Steven, they are progressive thinkers. I saw Tolly
Exactly.
yesterday. You can get a chance to talk to them, but they're progressive thinkers, and they're always ahead, and they're constantly moving. And that's a great thing, especially with HBCU sports. They're always moving, and they're always growing, and they're always doing something. So I think that's a great thing for them.
Right. And HBCU game day will produce the game in conjunction with HBCU Live and MVP TV Network. So, I'm going to be checking the game out. We're going to support our fellow HBCU site, because they support us. Stephen came on and gave us an awesome interview. You know what I'm saying? We interact online. I just think it's awesome. And I'm going to end with this here. This is going to create an opportunity for someone either to be promoted to this position or for somebody on the outside to be moved in. The SWAC coordinator of women's basketball officials, Sally Bell, retired. So that's going to create a position for someone to come in and utilize their wealth of knowledge for basketball officials. Because, of course, the one single thing that us fans complain about is when officials get things wrong. And apparently, Miss Bell is ready to ride off in the sunset where she don't have to worry about reviewing game film. She don't have to worry about having meetings with referees to ensure that they're making proper calls. She's going to retire and leave that job to someone else. Of course, SWAC Interim Commissioner Edgar Grant is going to be looking to fill that position as soon as possible, because you want to get someone in there before basketball season starts. Because this position is integral. Because you're the coordinator of officials, which means you're the boss of the referees in the SWAC in regards to women's basketball. So enjoy retirement, Sally Bell. May have to try to reach out to you to come on the show and talk to us about your SWAC journey. She's been a SWAC women's basketball official since 2009, and she held the same post for the Southland, SEC, Ohio Valley, Sunbelt, and Atlantic Sun conferences. This is a woman with a wealth of experience, and for her to have been at the SWAC the past, I guess you can say 9 years, I think that's amazing that she, has given us her knowledge of officials. So, Kel, that's all I have for the show. You want to close us out?
Okay, so before we close out, my final note, we do want to send congratulations over to former guest Coach Alfred Jordan, which was the former assistant of Clark Atlanta University men's basketball. He has decided to join his former coach, head coach Darryl Walker, at the University of Arkansas Little Rock. So he has signed a contract to be his assistant. I did talk to Coach on Friday, and he said it was bittersweet, and just a lot of it. It seemed like it came soon, but from what Coach Walker said, he just couldn't sleep at night knowing that he did not have Coach Jordan there with him. I just call him Alfred because I've known him for so long. So
exactly.
Just not having there, but it happens, and we just know when you get that kind of talent, and the thing is that Alfred graduated from Clark. He played ball for Clark. And then he coached at Clark, and he recruited for Clark. So he did so much for the school, and it was just one of those things that, it's business. So when you put the offer on the table, it was just one of those things. But nevertheless, I'm super proud of him. I'm happy for him. I'm happy for Coach Walker. You're always sad to see that type of talent leave, but you're always happy for him. So on that note, that's the end of the show, and we will see y'all next week. Good night.
Good night, everyone.
Shutterstock